Welcome to a how to BF-109 K-4 video. In this video I will be teaching you how to fly the majestic K-4, so let's get on with it. First we will start with the weaponry. The K-4 gets two 13mm machine guns with 600 rounds of ammo mounted above the engine. These guns often only get me hits, but if you're out of cannon ammo these will still be better than the typical 7.92 machine guns most other BF-109s have. Then going through the engine we have a 30mm cannon with 60 rounds of ammo, which is very hard to use due to its slow muzzle velocity and the heavy weight of the rounds. But if it manages to make contact with the enemy plane, said enemy usually resembles scrap metal due to the amount of high explosive in a 30mm round. If you don't like the 30mm cannon like me, it's okay, because you can research a modification that allows you to swap the 30mm with a 20mm, which is nice, because the 20mm is easier to use, has a lot more ammo, and is more than sufficient to take down enemy planes. If these three guns aren't enough for you, you can also research a modification that gives you gun pods in the form of two 20mm cannons mounted under the wings. I often use them because my aim is bad. I find that using stealth belts for the 13mm MGs are best and air targets for your 20mm cannons. Now let's talk about the engine. The engine in the K-4 is a Daimler-Benz DB605 DC-12 cylinder inline engine, and this thing when spaded is godly. When I spaded my K-4 I bought the expert crew qualification because I knew this thing was a beast. The K-4 can climb at 20 degrees with weapon until around 4 to 5,000 meters, then has to bring the climb down to about 15 degrees to maintain speeds over 240 kilometers per hour. Typically the engine won't start overheating too bad until you reach around 5,000 meters using WEP the whole time. The WEP on the K-4 is often the difference between life and death. You gain so much power by using it. The difference is night and day. Also it's worth mentioning that you burn fuel quickly while using WEP, so you should seriously consider bringing 20 minutes of fuel or more if you think you need it. Now for tactics. The BF-109 K-4 is a boom and zoomer like all other 109s, so getting lots of altitude is key. Then swoop down and shoot enemies down with every pass, making sure not to turn fight with them. If you consider yourself an experienced pilot you may also use the K-4 as an energy fighter, and it does very well in the vertical due to having a lightweight airframe like the other 109s. The K-4 retains its speed very well after a dive in a straight line, so if you come out of a dive it would be smart to run a few kilometers away from the fight to get to safety before turning your speed back into altitude. Enemies you must watch out for are Spitfires, F-82s, and P-51s. The P-51 is your nemesis and you should worry about them the most. They, just like you, perform well at high altitude, but you are better than them at high altitudes like 6 kilometers and higher. But don't be stupid and turn fight them because you're better. Continue to play it smart. For the love of God never run away from a P-51, because they are faster than you, and they will catch you in level flight. Now let's cover modifications. If you want to get the 20mm as soon as possible you should unlock MG-1-5-1/20 cannon, then R5 modification, airframe, 20mm belts, engine, then upgraded 20mm cannons. Then get all the flight performance mods before anything else. If you like the 30mm, get radiator, then airframe and compressor. Then get the 30mm belts, engine, and new 30mm cannon. After that unlock all the flight performance mods. The K-4 benefits greatly from the engine upgrades, so you should get it as soon as possible, as well as the other flight performance mods. Now I will let this gameplay roll and I will explain my decisions as it goes. I wait until the enemy plane is passing under me to dive on him, so I can slot in behind him. Initially I was going to go for the Spitfire, but he went underneath me, so it would be smarter for me to switch targets to the P-47. Even after lighting the P-47 on fire, I stay on him to kill him before he can punish my friendly bomber anymore. After killing the P-47, I break away from my friendly and look for the Spitfire, who is now chasing me. Since I have more energy than him, I will run away until he gives up, or I have put enough distance between us to safely gain altitude again. Now that my teammate has engaged the Spitfire, I will turn back to help him while gaining some altitude in the turn. Now I resume the boom and zoom tactics. The Spitfire turns back into me, making it stupid for me to follow him. So I'll level out to stay above him and keep him on the defensive. Now I'm getting worried about the new Spitfire. The new Spitfire is too focused on my teammate and I come through for the kill. While I dealt with the new Spitfire, the old one ran away, and now I must go hunt him down and deal with the enemies at a lower altitude. This P-51 behind me surprised me, but I can see that I have two teammates dealing with him, so I leave him to them. While flying through the cloud, I decide it's safe enough to climb a little as I track these targets through the cloud. One of them is big, so I suspect a bomber and a fighter. When you make a pass on a bomber, make sure you stay fast, and after you've made your strike, just run away a little to get away from those gunners. Never strike a bomber then immediately turn back on him. While turning back on him, you only leave yourself vulnerable. Now we deal with the Spitfire. Here he turns back into me, so my best move would be to just level out and wait. I spot a target in the distance that I feel is a threat. Never mind the distant threat, that Spitfire is gunning it for my teammates. I have to deal with him first. Also, I'm low on fuel, so after I kill this Spitfire I should go back to base. The Spitfire turns around for me again. So I'll level out again. But this time he's hungry. He tries to climb up for me, but a spiral climb should make it very difficult for him to get me. But he gives up and goes for my teammate. Now that the P-51 is part of the problem, things get very complicated. I'll climb for an attack on the P-51. The Spitfire follows me up with my teammate on his tail. But he breaks off me almost immediately. The P-51 is now going vertical for my teammate, so I follow up on the P-51 in attempts to take him out with long range shots. He's definitely outrunning me, so no point in following. Back to the Spitfire. So close there. That was risky, but it paid off. Now to deal with the P-51. I realize how much ammo I have and how little fuel, so I drastically lose hope for winning this fight. Again. So close. I throw a GG in the chat, because at this point I know I'm doomed. I turn into his dive to throw him off. Now he's made his mistake. He went too far into the vertical and then realized I'm still keeping up with him. Thanks to the BF-109's lightweight design and powerful engine, I'm able to keep up with him in the stall speeds. I run out of cannon rounds. But the 13mm guns save a day. Now with a minute of fuel and no ammo, I need to find an airfield to land at. Then I checked the leaderboard and realized he was the last enemy and I have won the game. Man, what a nail biter. The K-4 is my favorite prop plane. I hope that, after watching this guide, you can be as successful as me. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you enjoy my content, or want me to review another vehicle, please leave a comment, subscribe and join my Discord, where you can speak to me directly. See you next time.